Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here. Today is a Monday, August 26, 2019, and we got a lot going on. Listen, last night I went to bed. The futures were down on the market, right? Woke up this morning, the futures are up. So what the heck's going on, Did something change overnight? So I got to find out. So I've been on there researching this morning, and let's get started. Let's get the chart started right here. And zero hedge was a big help to helping me find out what's really going on. Trump says China called in quotation marks, wants to restart trade talks. Well, you know what? It says here China denies. They deny it, and they said they don't know what Trump's talking about. What in the heck's he talking about? So it says reporters were told that the Chinese government called his team in Washington Sunday, not once but twice, in a bid to restart the talks on trade. And China called last night. Our trade people said, let's get back to the table, Trump said on the sidelines of the Group 7 meeting in Barrett's, France. And he said they understand how life works. According to Trump, U.S. officials received 2 very productive calls from the Chinese, but declined to say whether he had spoken directly to Xi, the leader of China. He says they want to make a deal, he said, adding that the U.S. would accept Chinese invitation and return to the negotiations. Well, this talk must have buoyed the markets, and that's why the markets were up this morning. That's why I guess they're still up. But what's really going on, Asked by reporters about Trump's remarks shortly after the American president spoke, Gung Shang, a spokesman for the foreign ministry in Beijing, said that he wasn't aware of any weekend U.S.-China phone calls. He repeated China's positions in the trade war. So, Gung Shang, spelled Gengshang, a spokesman for the foreign ministry in Beijing, said that he wasn't aware of any weekend U.S.-China phone calls. And it says here, based on what I know, Chinese and top U.S. negotiators didn't hold phone calls in recent days. The two sides have been keeping contact at a technical level, but it doesn't have a significance that the President Trump suggested. So, looking at this and analyzing it, it says the two sides have been keeping in contact at technical levels. Okay? So they have had contact. Now we got to understand what's really going on here. Let's take a look at another article. It says call or no call. So did the Chinese really call? Now Steve Mnuchin, the I have trouble pronouncing his name. I'm sorry, I just have trouble pronouncing it. He explains what really happened. Evidently, according to it says Dow futures plunged 200 points early this morning after China denied a call had taken place with Trump's team. And it says, now this is what Steve Mnuchin had to say, the Treasury Secretary. He says there were discussions that went back and forth. Okay? And he says, let's just leave it at that. Okay? That's quote unquote. He says there were discussions that went back and forth. Okay? Now, looking at this previous article, I wonder if these discussions that went back and forth were what they call, these two sides have been keeping in contact at a technical level. Now, this is from Hu Jin, and it says, based on what I know, Chinese and U.S. top negotiators didn't hold phone calls in recent days. It says the two sides have been keeping in contact at a technical level. But he says it doesn't have the significance President Trump has suggested. So the two sides have been keeping contact. Okay, that's point one we can make out. The two sides have been keeping in contact at a technical level. This is what I gather from it. And the second thing is, Steve Mnuchin said that there were discussions that went back and forth. And he said, let's just leave it at that. So that's how much I know up till now about what's going on. That there are discussions going back and forth between. That's pretty much. They are talking, but as far as a trade deal being imminent, well, I'm going to tell you what. The Chinese, I'm sure, must feel pressured at this point to come to some sort of a deal or an arrangement. And the America must feel some sort of pressure as well. Could the two sides come together suddenly in some sort of a deal? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But, as this trade war intensifies, it's going to start to have an effect on the markets. It already has had an effect on the markets. But I don't think the markets are really pricing in what the full effect of this could actually be down the road. New trade routes are being established. There's going to be new trade deals established between Great Britain and the United States, most likely. This is a very likely scenario, in my opinion. And also, between Canada and the United States, most likely. Between Japan and the United States, new trade deals. And as far as what's gone on between the Chinese and American trade back and forth, this has been damaged. Let's just put it this way. I'm just gonna call it damaged at this point. And can that damage, now this is my opinion only, can that damage actually be reversed at this point in time? Well, that's a big question mark. And that damage that's been done, what's going to be the effect on the global economy? That's my big question mark in all of this. Those are big question marks that I have that haven't been answered yet, but I'll tell you what my feeling on it is. My feeling on it is that this damage that's been done to the trade between East and West is going to manifest itself in the markets at some point in time. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but that's my opinion on it. Now, looking for more truth in the news out there, I believe that this article from Reuters is probably pretty much on the mark. China willing to resolve trade dispute with the United States via dialogue. And so they're probably willing to talk. It says Chinese Vice Premier Liu He said on Monday that China is willing to resolve its trade dispute with the United States through calm negotiations and resolutely opposes the escalation in the conflict. So I believe that's we're getting to the nitty-gritty here, and that's truth. It sounds like truth to me. It sounds like something he would say. I mean, at this point in time, there's so much going back and forth, and you got to kind of sort through it to find truth. And so I'm trying to find truth here. Now, let's take a look. I had another article here. Another point I want to make as far as the damage is concerned. Trump orders U.S. businesses to stop dealing with China. And the owners of these businesses say the move will hurt profits. Now, a law, an obscure law from the 1970s, 1977, I believe, allows the president to have this power to actually stop businesses from dealing with China. It's some sort of an emergency measures act. Let's take a look at the price of silver now. Let me refresh the page. Silver and gold, you know, they cut quite a bit, and they've went up quite a little bit substantially, and they're holding their gains. Silver at 1759 bid, 1770 ask. That looks really good to me. I hope they hold their gains. I hope that this doesn't go down any. Only up. This is the only direction I want this to move in. Let's take a look at gold today. 1530 bid, 1531 ask. It's up $4 on the day, and it's holding its gains as well. Not quite as good as silver. Now, let's get in there and let's take a look at cryptocurrency today. We're looking at 268 billion. Let me just refresh the page. 269 billion. So it's moving upwards right now. Bitcoin dominance is 69%. And cryptocurrencies has been in the doldrums. They haven't had any wind in their sails for a few days, you know. So we see the price is kind of stagnant on cryptocurrency right now. It's kind of like going along sideways. So there's not a lot to talk about in cryptocurrency today. We're looking at a price of Bitcoin of 10,361, Ethereum 189 bucks, XRP is 27 cents, Bitcoin Cash is $310, Litecoin is 7407, and those are our top currencies. Now let's take a look at the Dow right now and see what she's doing. It's up 213 points on the day. But now I'm going to tell you what. I wouldn't go near this market right now with a barge pole. Now that's my opinion only, because I don't think that the market has come to a full realization of basically what is happening within the trade of the world. The world has been used to trading and has certain trade routes and stuff, and these are all being dissected, torn apart, and reestablished anew in different trade for different areas. And this is going to cause major disruption. I don't think the Dow has really priced this in yet. The Dow's just going on sentiment. And this is why the Dow's going up and down all over the place, because it's trying to look for answers to what's happening and what's the situation that's going on right now. The Dow's trying to look for answers, you know, but eventually it's going to dawn on them what the real answer is. The real answer is that everything in the world's been scrambled, like scrambled eggs right now, and it's going to have to be reassembled. And when they come to the full realization of what's really going on with all of this, how well-established trade routes in the earth now are crumbling and new ones are being established, I think the Dow could really fall out of bed big in the next upcoming weeks and months, you know. And I think we're on the precipice of massive declines in the stock market that could be actually coming in the following months from now, as ramifications and of what's transpired start to actually manifest themselves later. I don't think that's happened yet. Let's take a look now at oil prices. Up 72 cents on the day. That's 1.33%. $54.89 for sweet light crude. U.S. Treasuries today are a mixed bag. They're not really going a lot of anywhere. They're bouncing around. The short end of the yield curve is going up a little bit, where the long end is falling. This is reflecting the volatility ahead of the markets, ahead of the stock market today. There's a lot of volatility in the U.S. Treasuries, and this is intensifying the yield curve. When the long end falls and the short end rises, that's rocket fuel to intensify this yield curve inversion. Okay, that's really bad right now for intensifying the yield curve inversion. Let's take a look at the dollar today. 97.98, and the dollar's up today a little bit, but it was 98 point something. It's fell back a little bit now, but it's rising this morning. And that'll have a little bit of a negative impact later in the day on gold and silver, but I don't think it's going to be very much. So, this was the article. Call or no call? That's basically the big story today. Call or no call? Was there calls or was there no calls? And Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, says there were discussions that went back and forth. And he says, let's just leave it at that. And so I guess we don't really know at this point in time about these calls. But the Chinese say, evidently, say that, well, a little bit different story. There's different stories going around. So we're trying to get to the truth of this. I'm going to do more digging and more research to try to find out what the real truth on this is. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye bye.